From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a major night here on Evening LALATE as we start a brand new week and also a brand new year with massive stimulus checks. These incredible stimulus checks are for you, SSI, Ssdi, Social Security, and railroad benefits. We're going to go over these massive stimulus checks at issue. Plus, we'll be turning to unemployment stimulus checks and PEBT stimulus checks. But these great checks tonight are for you. If you make $75,000 or less, stay over this 1 hour broadcast. Lots of checks. And why is 2023 a great year for stimulus checks? Because of the combination of 3 years of stimulus, 2020, 2021, and 2022, all heating up this broadcast. They're monthly stimulus checks. They started at A through Q. They're 18 months. You're going to need it because we're going to have a 2-year recession. But we got another stimulus check right after that, and it's the debut of Stimulus Check R. It's a small business stimulus, and it's absolutely huge sums of money. You see there's a graphic right now, yeah, $26,000. We'll go over the massive stimulus at issue with that. Plus, we'll be going over the PEBT stimulus, and we'll be looking at the market recap as we ended 2022 and what we saw with the new year. But the great news tonight is massive stimulus, a combination of 3 years of stimulus checks. And those 3 years of stimulus checks are absolutely wonderful. We're going to go over how to get them in this broadcast from the shores of San Marcos, California. Monthly, past, you, SSI, Ssdi, Social Security, railroad benefits, low income, massive stimulus for 2023. Combination of 2020, 2021, and 2022 stimulus. Still law, over $500 million of it in tonight's broadcast. Plus, we'll go over the unemployment stimulus. We'll go over the PEBT stimulus. We'll go over the business stimulus. It's all law, and it's all been passed, and we'll go over every penny for you in this recording. Plus, when we look at the markets and what we learned at the end of last year and what helps us for the new year. From the shores of San Marcos, California, it's a big night, it's a big year, and it's going to get even better. I'm excited you're here. I'm excited you were with me last year. Boy, 2023 is the year that has all that incredible stimulus all at the same time. Plus, we'll have the upturn of the economy by the end of the year. All the latest details and more on tonight's major broadcast. It's Evenings LALATE 2023, and it all starts right here, right now. Good evening, everybody. The markets return, vacationers return, niche ball, not so much. Tonight's recording, we go over those massive stimulus checks, those 2023 stimulus checks, combination of 3 years of stimulus checks. We're going to go over all that money. It's for you, SSI, Ssdi, Social Security, railroad benefits, $75,000 less annual income. They're for you. Married couple, $150,000. It's for you. Their stimulus checks A through Q. Watch this entire broadcast because they're monthly, and you want to get them right now. Why do you want to get them right now? Because we're going to have a 2-year recession, I've been predicting. We're going to know definitively by February if it's a 2-month recession, but I'm saying 2-year, and you're agreeing as well. You need these 18 months of monthly stimulus checks passed law. We'll go over all that money in tonight's recording. Go right in this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, a Calcino VIP, and get all these incredible stimulus checks that are passed law right now. You don't want to wait. And how do you get those monies? As a member at news.la.com/newsletter, the brand new membership newsletter that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Watch this video, become a member, go right in the newsletter tonight, and apply for stimulus checks. It's that straightforward. We're going to go over all that incredible sums of money in tonight's recording, and also we'll go over the unemployment stimulus and PEBT stimulus, and then later in this recording, we'll go over what we learned at the end of the markets and the end of 2022. But first, 2023. 2023 is going to be the best year for stimulus ever. Most stimulus ever, because it's passed. It's live right now. It's the combination of 2023 stimulus checks, 2021 stimulus checks, and 2022 stimulus checks, still law, that Americans don't know about. Over $500,000. And the first checks, A through Q, are for you. SSI, Ssdi, stimulus checks. SSA, RB, low income stimulus checks. If you're watching tonight's recording and you made $75,000 or less last year, this is for you. And if you're a married couple and you made less than $150,000 or less last year, this is for you. And these are monthly stimulus checks on average, 18 months. You need 18 months of stimulus checks. Why? Because it's going to be a 2-year recession. We're going to know definitively by February. I'll explain to you why. And then we'll turn to stimulus check R later in this recording. But let's go right into those first 3 checks right now. Those first 3 checks came from Joseph Biden. The President of the United States passed the first 3 checks starting earlier in 2022. And they are absolutely wonderful. Let's look at those incredible checks right now and understand how it goes from point A to point B in tonight's recording. Those first 3 checks, A, B, and C, are just wonderful. And you want to get these incredible stimulus checks across the board. Stimulus checks A, B, and C are huge, and they were passed by executive action of Joseph Biden in the 2022 year. Then, how much is there in those first 3 checks? A, B, and C has over $100,000 for you, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefit, anyone who makes less than $75,000 last year. Married couple, $150,000 less last year. And they're great, but they get even better. Why? Because in addition to the checks from Joe Biden, A, B, and C, for you, they're the ones that came from Congress. E through K stimulus checks. And they're heating up this broadcast as well. And these are also for you if you made $75,000 or less last year, bringing us to hundreds of checks. Then I found you more checks, L and M, N and O, P and Q. And tonight we debut also Stimulus Check R for small businesses. Become a member, go around this video and get these incredible checks. Checks for Americans, and they're absolutely wonderful. Let's look at those first 3 checks, A, B, and C, right now. Those first 3 checks are huge, and they are just incredible. Stimulus check A is a $6,500 to $12,000 stimulus check. And again, this is for you if you made $75,000 or less in 2022. Go into this video, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Then go into that incredible newsletter that everyone's talking about because it's so simple, it's so easy. Where is that newsletter? It's at news.lalate.com/newsletter. Here is the address. But you don't have to even write the address down. It's in the description to the video. It's in the pinned comment. And it's also at the top of the chat. news.lalate.com/newsletter. It's a website. So a website never closes. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all holidays, all weekends. Just go right in there and get those incredible checks. Grab the password from the most recent post for members and go right in and get those incredible checks. Now, these huge checks started with check A, but we weren't done there yet because then check B helped us a lot because check B is that check that brought us to 18 months of stimulus checks and on average about 5 checks per month and $3,000. Stimulus check B is just huge. Go get it right now tonight in the membership newsletter. And then we go to stimulus check C, which is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. It's in the newsletter. Go down to check C and it tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. Those incredible check C's have been big success stories for viewers on this channel. And how much money have viewers gotten from check C's as members on this channel? $30,000 of rent happening all the time. Become a member right tonight and get some check C in the membership newsletter, where it tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. And then rent. And then utilities. Do you want $15,000 of utilities? It's happening all the time. Combinations of checks. Well, watch what happens here. Combinations of checks. Mark, Nisi, and Nancy. Nisi was at $23,000. She went to $50,000 of combinations of stimulus checks. This is for you, SSI, SSDI, low income. Anyone who makes $75,000 less in 2022, this is for you. Then combinations of checks brought Mark from $50,000, from $32,000 to $50,000. Then from $50 to $100. Then from $100 to $166,000. And Lorraine went from $105,000 to $155,000. So how do I do this? For check A, check me and check C, the first three stimulus checks for 2023 in tonight's broadcast, you go right under the membership newsletter and go right in and click the link for A, B, and C. And get these incredible checks right now. You don't wait. But guess what? I got more checks for you thereafter. I got checks for you, stimulus checks for 2023 from Congress. And these brought us to hundreds of checks, and they're absolutely incredible. And those stimulus checks from Congress that followed after C, of course, are E through K. Let's look at these beautiful stimulus checks for 2023 from Congress, passed law, and they are huge. And stimulus check E is a beautiful $7,500 stimulus check. Stimulus check F, $4,000 stimulus check. Stimulus check G, 30% off. Stimulus check H, a $2,000 stimulus check. Stimulus check I, a gorgeous, wonderful $8,000 stimulus check. Stimulus check J, $8,000. And then stimulus check K, $14,000. I love it. So those are your A to K stimulus checks so far. A, B, and C from Joe Biden, E through K from Congress, all passed, all law, been paying out. But guess what happens after that? I found you other stimulus checks, and those are L to Q. L, $100,000 on average of loan interest-free money. And then M, a $4,000 stimulus check. Great. N, brand new computer, brand new laptop, brand new free internet. It's stimulus N in the newsletter. Go get it tonight. Stimulus check O, zero down payment, zero closing costs, brand new mortgage. Do you want a brand new computer and laptop, tablet for 2023? Of course you do. Become a member. Go right down to stimulus N in the newsletter. Stimulus P and Q, finally, are a beautiful 3% down, and 8,000 stimulus check is Q. And those, my friends, are your A to Q 2023 stimulus checks, all law already for you. If you make $75,000 in 2022, it's based upon last year. And also, if you made $150,000 less, married couple, they're for you. SSI, Ssdi, Social Security, and rural benefits. Largest check so far, $100,000. Smallest check so far, $8,000. Fastest routing time, 2 days. Johnny started on Monday. By Wednesday, he had $45,000 of these 2023 stimulus checks for you. He continued to Friday, and he got $150,000. Excuse me, got $80,000 from 15 applications in, half rejected, half approved. Next week, he helped mom and dad each get $50,000, and then he helped 20 friends and neighbors get $250,000. These checks, 2023 stimulus checks, are for a lot of great stuff. The rent, the utilities, the mortgage, the home repairs, the home appliances, the computer, the tablet, the internet, the car, and more. Now, here's what's important to understand about the way stimulus works. And this brings us back to the very first day this channel launched in March of 2020. My friend had told me as soon as the pandemic started in March of 2020, there was a stimulus out there that pays you $10,000. I said, 10,000? How come I never heard about that? That's what I actually said to her. Now, the reason I said that to her was it was non-local news. It was non-broadcast news. I watch a lot of news. I saw it nowhere. The purpose of Congress and the president is to pass laws. Their job is not to tell you about them. Their job is not to run a news agency or be press agents of what they're doing. They just do it and go on their day. And that is what I learned the very first day I pressed record on this channel. I never heard about this $10,000 grant. It was called the EIDL grant. Most people hadn't. I pressed record and I told people how to get it. Millions of Americans didn't know that there was a thing called unemployment. They had never applied for unemployment, let alone knew you can get extra $600 a week, FPC, let alone knew that there was LWA or PUA or PPP. They didn't know about any of these things. Where do you get them? How do you get them? Again, Congress's purpose is not to tell you how this all works. It's your job is to pass the law. Which brings us to 2023's stimulus checks. 2023 stimulus checks, you think that 2023 stimulus checks are just stimulus checks passed in 2023. No. Because there's over $500 million of stimulus checks that you can get that has not been paid to you from 2020, 2021, and 2022. It's an enormous amount of money of stimulus that is still sitting around unused up, and it's all incredible. And that's why this channel exists. We have gone from that very first day of those EIDL grants to tonight, you may have never heard of these stimulus checks A to Q. And that's why I exist on this channel. Now, even though hours of research go into every recording every day on this channel, or every days of recording, every full day of recording, it's important to understand that I sometimes don't even hear things. And I certainly never heard about Stimulus Check R. And it didn't become law yesterday either. It became law in 2021 based upon the events of 2020. And I missed it for 2.5 years. Yeah. And here it goes right tonight. Stimulus Check R debuted on this channel the day before Christmas 2022. And I heard it, not on news, not on local news, not on the newspaper. I heard it in a commercial. And it's huge. And who would miss a $26,000 stimulus check? I wouldn't miss it if I had heard it. But again, it's not the purpose of Congress to tell you about these incredible stimulus checks. It's my purpose to tell you when I researched them. And again, it went right into that membership newsletter that night. And what is it? It is the first business grant stimulus on this channel in nearly 2 years. It is absolutely huge. I refer to it as Stimulus Check R, but it's actually called something a little bit different. It's actually called the Employee Retention Credit. The Employee Retention Credit is fascinating for many reasons. Number one, it is law right now, it is paying right now, and it is based upon what happened in 2019. Yeah, stimulus in 2023 based upon what happened in 2019. Yeah, it sounds unusual, but I'll explain to you what's going on. First, let's understand what it's for and who is it for. It's for people who have small businesses. So my original EIDL viewers, PPP, PUA, LWA, get ready for all this excitement. It started with Congress understanding that you had employees during the pandemic and they want to reward you for it. So let's look at this beautiful Stimulus Check R starting right now. The concept is very simple. If you had employees in 2019, did you keep them or did you fire them when the pandemic started? If you kept employees from 2019 into 2020 when the pandemic started, they will pay you, the federal government will pay you $5,000 per employee. Wow, that's a lot of money. If you kept them on staff in 2020, you had them on staff in 2019, you didn't fire them in 2020, whammo, $5,000 for your hand per employee. But it gets better. If you had an employee in 2019, you kept them in the start of the pandemic in 2020, and then kept them for 3/4 of 2021, they'll also give you $7,000 per quarter for 2021. The grand total for any employee you kept from 2019 through the third quarter of 2021, you get paid, you see that graphic, $26,000 per employee. If you had 10 employees in 2019 and you never fired them anytime in 2020 and 2021, you get rewarded with $260,000 employee retention credit. And if it was 20 employees, it's $500,000. How do you get this incredible Stimulus Check R? It's in the membership newsletter. And again, this is a brand new business stimulus check debuting on this channel just about a week ago. I never heard about it. Found it in a commercial, not on my local news. Go to news.la.com/newsletter. Go down to Stimulus Check R. It's called the Employee Retention Credit, and reach out to your tax preparer for more information about how you get these incredible sums of money. The other stimulus that's really heating up for 2023 is, of course, unemployment stimulus. Why? Because more people will become unemployed in 2023, but don't necessarily know how it works. Let's go over unemployment stimulus right now. Unemployment stimulus is paying people for people who were unemployed because they were fired as W-2 employees. And before we go into this, let me explain something very fundamental to understand that no one explains to you. First, most people don't even know there's something called unemployment for them. I know that because I recorded the videos in 2020. The pandemic hit, people said unemployment. I've never done unemployment. What is unemployment? It is a very, very unusual type of stimulus. It's easy to get, but it's very unusual until someone explains it to you. More importantly, it's important to understand why you get paid to understand that you get it. First, you're getting paid as a W-2 employee who is fired for the weeks that you were thereafter unemployed. So if you're watching this video, in January of 2023, you were fired in October 1st, 2022 as a W-2 employee, but you started 2023 on the right note because you got a brand new job on January 2nd, 2023. Guess what? Doesn't matter you have a job on January 2nd, 2023. You can get lots of unemployment stimulus for every week of October 1st to January 2nd or January 1st that you were unemployed because you got fired from that previous job. Yeah, that's how it works. It pays you for the weeks you were unemployed, even if you later get employed. So let's go over the 2 steps. Step 1 and step 2. Step 1 is getting the claim approved, and step 2 is getting paid for each of these respective weeks. On step 1, you're going to want to go to your state's Department of Unemployment, file the claim. And in step 1, you're asked 3 questions. Get them right. Pretty easy, but get them right. Question number 1, what date were you fired? October 1st, boss said to you, ma'am, you're fired. That's the answer. Do not use this date in January. Use the October 1st. That's when the boss said to you, ma'am, as a W-2 employee, you're fired. 2 other questions in that first step. Willing to work? Yes. Able to work? Yes. Done. Make sure you say yes and yes. Willing to work, it's a mental question. Able to work, it's a physical question. You need to answer yes and yes, otherwise you get denied. Off to step number 2. Your claim will be approved, and then your state will say to you, do you want to certify for weekly benefits? Certify? What does that even mean? What does that verb mean? I know, it's very unnatural. It's a fancy way of saying, do you want some money? Yeah, I do. This money, again, in this example, is paying you for every week you were unemployed because you were fired as a W-2 employee from October 1st until you were no longer unemployed when you got that new job in 2023. So you're going to get every week of October, every week of November, every week of December. That's 12 approximate weeks of unemployment stimulus. Wow. The website will first ask you to do the first week, the week of October 1st, when you first became unemployed, when you were fired as a W-2 employee. Ask you a series of questions, you're done. It'll bring you to the next week and the next week. If you just found this video in January of 2022, let's say in February 2022, let's say in March of 2023, March of 2023, can you do this to those weeks in the back? Yes, absolutely. And how many weeks of checks are you going to get? 12 weeks in this example. 12 weeks, because it's all of October, all of November, and all of December. 12 weeks of stimulus checks, even though you eventually got hired at another job in 2023. There you go. That's why it's so fundamental to understand how stimulus works. The next type of stimulus is also a little bit unnatural, and it's for families with the PEBT. PEBT is being paid out to millions of Americans. Why? Because of the events that happened in 2020. Yeah, same situation again. You are getting free or discounted meals when the pandemic started, but Congress does not believe you got enough, and certainly the states don't believe it either. So states are now sending out PEBT checks this January 2023 for the events that unfolded during the pandemic, and they're not small checks, folks. They're nearly $391. This is called PEBT stimulus, and it's huge. So lots of different stimulus. Let's recap. Stimulus checks A, B, and C. For you, SSI, Ssdi, Social Security, wearable benefits. And of those, B is the check that gives you the most months of checks. 18 months when you need 18 months, because it's going to be a 2-year recession, 24 months. Then, after C, we go through E through K, the ones done from Congress. Those incredible stimulus checks, all in the membership newsletter. L and M, N and O, P and Q. Those are the Congress checks those are the checks that came after Congress. And then we go into that incredible stimulus R for individuals who had employees in 2019. A through Q, fast stimulus, pays out really quickly, 48 hours. $3,000 a month, 5 checks per month. You need it. Why? Because it's going to be a 2-year recession, I'm predicting. And a 2-year recession needs lots of stimulus. How do I get this? You go under this video, subscribe. Subscribe to channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3. Like the video, tell your friends and family come on over, and go right into that membership newsletter tonight. You don't have to wait a minute. It's at news.la.com/newsletter. And to make it even easier, I put all the checks all together in the newsletter. I even make it even easier. You don't even have to write down that address for that website. Why? Because I put it in the pin of the comments. I put it at the top of the chat. I put it in the description. It's a pretty obvious, very memorable website address. Just click the link in the description, top of the chat or pin comment, and go right into news.la.com/newsletter after you become a member to any of these 3 broadcasting channels. Grab the password from the most recent post for members on any of the 3 channels. Grab that password for the most recent post and go right in and put it into the password protected newsletter and start getting these incredible stimulus checks. Lots of stimulus checks for 2023. And remember, it seems so unnatural, but this is the way Congress works. And this is not the way that Congress just started to work. Congress passes laws. Your job is to learn about the laws. And if no one tells you about the laws, you never get the money. It's been that way for a long time. Didn't start during the pandemic, didn't start this year. It's always been that way. And that's why this channel exists. That's why I press record, because I had never heard about the EIDL grant. That's why you may be watching tonight, because you never heard about 2023 stimulus checks. That's why I found Stimulus Check R, because I had never heard that there was $26,000 per employee left over from 2020 or 2019. Why don't they tell me? They don't have to tell you. This is how it works, and this is why we're here. This is why the Purple Power community works, and this is how we're going to get ahead through this pandemic. Become a member, go around this video, join this channel, and the big second half, we're going to continue with more about these incredible stimulus. Plus, we'll go over what we're seeing in the new week, the new year, and plus, what did we see with the latest details as a down year concludes. Down year concludes, new data, and the Purchasing Managers Index was promising. But what other data are we going to get next year, and what did we learn as well about wrong analysis and why wrong analysis may return, certainly, between January and February of 2023. I'll go over the latest details of what you need to know in the big second half. We'll be back with you with lots of money and lots of breaking news as Evenings LA continues tonight from the shores of Santa Monica, California. See you back in 60 seconds with this and more. Remember, become a member and get ready for all the breaking second half in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues in a big second half from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Hope you're having a beautiful night. One of the important things to understand for 2023 is that stimulus from 2020, 2021, and 2022 is still around, and it's not a few pennies in the fountain. It's over $500 million. More importantly, what's important to know, and this is new tonight, is that it's a new group of congressional leaders for 2023. They're not going to brag about what someone did for Americans in 2020 or 2021 or 2022. They didn't do it. It's not their work effort. So they're not going to talk about it. So don't expect them to mention it anytime soon. It's massive stimulus, and it's a lot of it. And it's a lot of stimulus checks. Check B, of course, is the check that gives you lots of months, 18 months, $3,000 a month on average, 5 checks per month. And you're going to need it because why? Continuing jobless claims will grow. New jobless claims will grow. And the situation of the economy is still far from over. Go on this video, become a member, and go right into that membership newsletter tonight. Don't even wait a second. I do all the work for you. All you have to do is become a member and go right into that incredible membership newsletter and start getting check A, check B, making the calls for check C, going through E through K, then going L to Q, and if you're a small business owner, going to Stimulus Check R. It's just absolutely incredible. Stay with me because I'm going to go over more about other stimuluses coming up in the next few days as well. Membership newsletter, do it tonight and get all the incredible stimulus. Let's go into what the market is going to have for the new week and the early part of this new year. It's a lot of dramatics and a lot of fascinating details. The breaking news starts right here, right now, in the big second half on the shores of Santa Monica, California. 2023 is going to look a little bit like the middle of 2022 when we start off. Why? Because certain people ran a fake narrative in the middle of 2022. There's not going to be a recession. Buy some stocks. The Fed's going to pivot. It's a great buying opportunity. They're going to do all that nonsense they did in the spring of 2020, middle of 2022, in the first 2 months of 2023. Here's the data, and then here's the analysis. What's the difference? Data is facts. Analysis is opinions. So we're going to start first with the data before we go into the opinions. The data. We're getting the latest CPI report in the first few weeks of January. It's going to likely mirror the last inflationary report, the PPE, Producer Price Index, that was released at the end of December that showed inflation went up. Next, we're going to get a few more manufacturing reports, but we did get a manufacturing report right on nearly the last day of 2022. And what did that manufacturing report show? It showed improvement, but still contraction. Contraction means the economy is shrinking, recession. Improvement means it's shrinking a little bit less. Growing is a positive number. Negative is a contraction number. Chicago's Purchasing Manager Index, released the day before the 3-day weekend, came in negative. Anything under 50 is negative, like a 49 is negative. A 51 is a positive. So it came in at 45, negative, but not as bad as expected. 41 was expected, and not as bad as October, which was 37. Improvement. New year, new data. Next data point we'll get is January 6th. This is a biggie. It's the non-farm payroll report. You know this one. It's released once a month. It has two numbers in there. How many jobs are created by this economy, and what's the unemployment rate? I don't really care about the first number. I never did. The president always talks about the first number. Jobs created, he takes credit for it. Yeah, it doesn't really help us for analysis. It's the data in the second number. It's the unemployment rate. One analyst in the end of 2022 said a fascinating point, and I agree with him. He said that this unemployment rate is going to be the key guidance for us in 2023 to understand what the Federal Reserve is going to be doing. I sort of agree. I believe it still will be the CPI, which tells us inflation, but it'll also be this report, which comes out on January 6th and every month thereafter, that gives us the unemployment rate. This is the most important part of tonight's recording. Let me tell you why. The Federal Reserve has said they're going to get inflation from 8% to 2%. They've said that for over a year. We're still nearly at 8%. So when will the Federal Reserve stop doing that? They're likely to stop doing that, this is analysis, only when unemployment is out of control. 3% is not out of control. 4% is not out of control. 5%? Maybe it's out of control. Again, this is their opinion of the situation, not mine. When is an unemployment rate so high it looks like it's out of control? So they need to balance bringing inflation down from 8 to 2%, and then bringing the unemployment rate higher, but how high is it looking too out of control? 3%, not out of control. 4%, that's fine. 5%, not sure. 6% out of control. Absolutely. When is inflation out of control? 8%. When is inflation okay? Maybe at 4%. I've said that for a long time. 5%, I'm not sure. 6%, no. 6% is out of control. So what I want you to know is that the Federal Reserve has not given us data on where a unemployment rate would be seen as out of control. Once they do that, this will help us address the situation better. For the time being, you have to assume inflation is going to keep on going down and unemployment is going to go higher. This is critical for February. Tell you why right now. Come February, the analysts are going to run the following same fake data points they did all last year. In fact, they're doing it on January 6th when the latest unemployment number is released. If that unemployment number is higher, not out of control, but higher, like a 4%, they're going to say, oh, that's horrible. That's a horrible unemployment rate. Federal Reserve's going to have to stop raising interest rates. No, your opinion that's a horrible rate may not be the opinion of the Federal Reserve because it's a discretionary determination. They may say 4%, it's not good, but it's not out of control. 5 or 6% is out of control. Here's why February is so critical, and here's why January 6th is so critical. You're going to hear this wrong analysis potentially for several months in 2023, where unemployment gets worse, but not out of control. And now it's to say, oh, it's horrible. They got to stop at the Federal Reserve. No, the Federal Reserve will stop when it looks like it's out of control. We don't know where that is out of control. So how can we deal with this? We need to listen to those Fed governors in these first 2 to 3 months of 2023 when they say to us, I saw that latest unemployment rate in February. It was this percentage point. It's a little bothersome, but we still got to raise our interest rates. That means it's not out of control. We saw that latest unemployment rate in April, and it was deeply worrisome. We have to address this. That suggests it's out of control. So until we hear that words, we need to stay course and understand interest rates are going higher. Next part of 2023 that's going to be critical is February, because February is going to be when we learn if we're going to have a 2-year recession or a 2-month recession. Millions of Americans don't even understand what's going on. Why? We had this data come in at the end of last year. In 2022's end, Americans were asked, is inflation gone or still around? Many, the vast majority, clearly not us, not the Purple Power community, not the viewers of this channel, said inflation was gone. Excuse me? Why did they say inflation's gone? Because gas prices are down. They just don't understand what inflation really is. It's a very, very fundamental problem. If people don't understand what something is, they don't understand how to answer the question. The next problem for 2023 to start is people trying to find the Fed pivot based upon this misread. Federal Reserve will stop raising rates because of, nope. Presume there will not be a stop of raising rates at the Federal Reserve until they tell you so. Because they had already said in 2022, they're doing this into 2024, and that's how long it's going to take to get inflation under control. Next, the stock YouTubers, the crypto YouTubers, the dippers. And I got to have a laugh with you right here. Let's go right to those crypto YouTubers. This morning, I got an alert on my phone, not from a YouTuber, but from a crypto app, one of the big ones. I don't use the app, nor do I use the site, but I just got the alert because I once downloaded the app. And it said, 2023 is starting as the big year for crypto. Make sure you start buying right now. Lord. We're just a blink of an eye into 2023, and suddenly crypto went from the trash to the creme brulee. I mean, what happened? Yeah, the problem with that issue is this is called bottom feeding. It's also called dippers. It's also called timing the market. It's very dangerous, and it's going to happen all this early few months of 2023. People tell you, no, now's the time to buy. We're at the bottom. Doesn't matter if it's crypto, stocks, real estate, cars, any type of investment. They're going to tell you this is the bottom. Do not buy into it. They did it in the middle of last year, certainly in the summer of 2022, and they said that was the bottom. We went straight down. We had gone from, let's say, for example, in this recording, 100 to a 90. They said that was the bottom. And then we ended the year at 60. Oh boy, not good. So what I recommend you to do is forgo looking for a bottom. Let's say in this example, the bottom really is 50. No one knows what the bottom is until after it happens. Let's just assume it's a 50. And you say, I'm not going to watch for the bottom. I'll just wait till I'm sure we're gone from the bottom, and then I'll buy. Here's the example. Someone who buys at something at a 70, after it fell from 100 to 70, and says, that's the bottom. They buy at 70. Guess what? It goes to 40. It goes to 50. They've lost nearly half of their investment. Trying to chase the bottom. They bought at 70, think that was the bottom, and went to 50. They lost half of their investment. If they panic, they sell, and they lose half of their investment. Yeah, that's why you don't do this. Next, person who sees it drop from 100 to 70 say, is that the bottom? I don't know. I'm going to wait till it rallies up for a while, because that's what LA teaches me. They don't buy. It falls to 50. They say, oh, thank God I didn't buy at 70. That was not the bottom. It does fall to 50. And here's what you do. You wait a couple of weeks for it to go up. I don't care if it's real estate, stocks, bonds, crypto. I don't care what it is. Although bonds are a little bit different. I don't care what it is. You wait for it to go up. Forgo the couple of dollars you didn't buy at the bottom. Forgo that because you know you have bought something that's on the trajectory up. That's how you sleep good at night. And so this is what got people in big trouble in 2022. And I got to tell you, they're going to be back in 2023 through at least February. They're going to start the year out. They may even start the first week of the year out, telling you, buy right now, there's a great opportunity. And then things will go down more because we have at least 20% down in this market to go. We're far from the bottom. And what they may do is do this. And let's do it right now. They will run the data from 2022 and tell you this must be the bottom. And you're going to say back to them, no, I'm not chasing the bottom because that's what LA taught me. Let's look at some examples right tonight. So in 2022, the NASDAQ, which is tech heavy, ended 33% down. Whew. So imagine if you chased the bottom on that one last year, you just lost 33% of your investment. S&P ended 20% down in 2022. Dow ended 8.58% down for the entire year. So this was 2022 was a very, very bad year for people chasing a bottom. Now, here's the problem. When you don't chase a bottom, you're fine. Are you losing up opportunities for the upside? No, I'd rather have you lose a little bit on the upside than lose half of your investment chasing a bottom. That's the big difference across the board. Now, let's go into 2023 and also where this economy is going to go in the next 60 days. Between January and February, we will know whether it's going to be a 2-year recession or a 2-month recession. What are the data points we're going to be looking at? First, we're going to be looking at the latest details on gross national product, how much the economy is growing, manufacturing index, how much we are growing in manufacturing or shrinking as economy. We're going to look at consumer spending. And of course, the data point that everyone in the system brother is going to be looking at, corporate earnings. Corporate earnings must be the topic of your discussions in the first 2 months of 2023. Why? If the corporations come in and tell you that the final quarter of 2022 was a bloodbath for them, you better not bite your nails because they'll start to look bad. You better take cover because that is the warning signal of a 2-year recession. We already know what happened. We already know what happened. We don't know what they're going to say because they may not have all experienced it. They're going to say the end of 2022 did not have demand. We did not sell products. In October, November, Black Friday was very bad for us. December had no demand whatsoever. And so we saw problems, and now we see macroeconomic problems for the rest of 2023. Yeah, so those corporate earnings will be coming in from January and February 2023. Gotta listen to them because it guides everything for this economy. First, it guides us whether it's a 2-year recession or a 2-month. The totality is that the vast majority of them are negative news. It's a 2-year recession. Next, it could potentially tee up a horrible implosion of labor. Layoffs, store closures, potential bankruptcies, that's what happens when businesses do really badly in a bad economy. It's happened before, and that's when we see this happening around February. Now, what would look like a 2-month recession? The numbers come in from the final quarter of 2022, and a few companies do bad, but the vast majority did fine. Wow, they did really well? I'm shocked. I'm shocked they actually had a decent quarter, and they give you higher guidance for the whole rest of 2023. That may not be a 2-year recession. That may be a 2-month recession. My analysis, my predictions are the following. First, I had originally predicted a recession in spring of 2022, and I predicted as a 2-year recession starting in January 2023. At the time, no one else was saying recession. By the middle to end of 2022, people started talking about soft recession, 2-month, or hard recession, 2 years. But along the way, some people started talking about the middle road. This was never ever part of the discussion initially. The middle road may be a recession that's only for the first part of 2023. Not 2 months, but maybe 6 months. Now, this is fascinating. Is this possible? Here's what's important to know tonight, and this is very fundamental. Recessions hit different parts of the United States at different times. Number one, recessions hit different segments of the economy in different magnitudes. For example, aerospace may never suffer a recession. Retail stores may suffer a horrible recession. Number 3, recession hits different walks of life, different aspects across the board. So, for example, the bankers in the banking industry may get all laid off left and right, and then the individuals in the high tech may all have lots of jobs. So recessions hit unequally at the same time. It's going to be very fascinating. Ultimately, lead with the data. Get as much stimulus as you can. Do not err on riskiness, err on caution. And remember, 2023 is going to be the biggest year for stimulus. It's the combination of checks from 2020, 2021, and 2022. No one is here to tell you that in Congress. You're never going to have Kevin McCarthy, the new Speaker of the House, in the House, Republican, come out and brag about all the stimulus that Nancy Pelosi passed for you in 2022 that's still around. He's never going to tell you about it. And if you pick up the phone and call him up, he'll not even acknowledge it exists. They don't want to talk about someone else's work effort. They want to talk about themselves. Number 2, you want to go to your local news site. They're not going to even cover this. So where did stimulus R come from? Where did stimulus R come from? And if it is so much money, if it does look sort of, Republican-ish, because it's a business grant and Republicans love business grants, why would Republicans not talk about it? Many reasons for why people don't talk about things, not our concern across the board. Our concern is getting the money. Our concern is getting as much money. Our concern is getting as much money as we can. And it all starts with becoming a member. It all starts with getting as much money to survive a 2-year recession. As many months of stimulus checks as possible, and as many months and as much money as possible every month. That's why it's important to pounce like a purple hawk. And that's why to focus on every check available. $300,000, fast stimulus, 18 months, needed with a 2-year recession. Average $3,000 a month, 5 checks per month, and get them across the board. Do not wait. These incredible stimuluses are everything from stimulus checks A to Q, and of course the other stimulus checks that follow thereafter. The new stimulus check R, the stimulus for unemployment, the stimulus checks for PEBT as well. It's important to get as much as you can. Ultimately, if we have a 2-month recession, let's celebrate. If we have a 2-year recession, we're prepared. We moved accordingly. We did not wait, and we did not risk anything. Start all those incredible stimulus checks with A, B, and C. Of course, love N, and become a member. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, good evening. Always stay informed. Always stay positive. Get as much money as you can. Do everything you need to know and do everything you need to do from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Thank you and God bless. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful night. And as always, stay with me throughout the night as the programming continues. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.